Hello? Hello? Good morning and welcome to Community Development's Learning Lab. Our presentation today is Safe, Warm, and Efficient, Weatherization Explained, presented by Dave Pinkston and Nicole Pizik. Please put your phones on silent and save any questions you have until the Q&A session at the end. CVTV is recording this and will be available on CVTV and our website. Today we'll be sharing some information about what the weatherization program is and how you can apply for it. Each house is a unique complex system. As buildings are sealed to preserve energy, proper ventilation becomes even more critical for indoor air quality and proper combustion appliances safety. Weatherization uses building science, which is based on physics related to heat transfer, airflow, and moisture movement, to determine the most effective strategies to ensure a house is operating efficiently and safely. The building science takes into account the entire building envelope, considering how components like walls, roofs, windows, and foundations interact with each other to impact energy efficiency. We have a small team here at the county, consists of 2 weatherization specialists, a program assistant, and a program manager. We have 3 federal partners, the Department of Energy, the Bonneville Power Administration, and LIHEAP, the Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program. We also have 2 local utility partners, Clark Public Utilities and Northwest Natural. And we have 1 grant that is funded from the state of Washington. We work with the Department of Commerce to provide a fully grant-funded program here at the county. Our program serves the low-income community. The income eligibility is based off of the federal poverty level, or the FPL. The FPL is determined annually by the Department of Health and Human Services and is a measure of your income and is based on the number of people in your household. To qualify for our program, you can make up to 150% of the FPL. The amounts shown here are for the 2024 LIHEAP season. As you can see, 1 person can make up to $1,883 per month, whereas a family of 4 can make up to $3,900 per month. The list goes to 16. If you have more than this in your household, please contact CPU for the rates. The LIHEAP program is, as for home types, we are able to work on single-family homes, things like mobile homes or condominiums. We're able to work on small multifamily, so duplex and triplex. With the multifamily, the majority of residents must qualify for our program. So for a duplex, 1 of the 2 would need to qualify. On a triplex, 2 of the 3 would need to qualify. We have partnered in the past with the Vancouver Housing Authority on larger multifamilies. These do pose a bit of a challenge, as again, the majority need to qualify for the program. Shown here is a map of Clark County. If you live within the red outline, you are within our service area. We serve the 7 cities as well as the unincorporated areas of the county. The borderline runs through Woodland, so if you live on the north side of the Lewis River, you can apply for benefits and weatherization at our neighboring agency, the Lower Columbia CAP. To apply for LIHEAP and weatherization, you'll call the ComCare or the Community Care Department at Clark Public Utilities. They administer the Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program and provide our intake for us. The number for that is 855-353-HEAT or 4328. They'll work with you to determine if you meet the basic requirements for assistance on your bill. If you qualify for LIHEAP, they will schedule an in-person appointment for you to go into their office. During that appointment, they'll determine if you're available for LIHEAP or any other community assistance programs they have. The LIHEAP program is seasonal. It's open from October through July, and the phone lines can get busy, so please keep trying if you're unable to get through. If you're qualified, they will provide us with your information, and that will consist of the household information form, otherwise known as the HIF. It consists of your basic information, so your date of birth, your social security number, and your contact information, your housing status, whether you rent or own your home, your income, as well as any benefits you receive. So if you have retirement or if you have child support or alimony, those would be included. The type of home you live in and how much it costs you per month to live there. Your household information, so the number of people that you have in the home and the total monthly income for everyone. Your primary heating source, so whether you have electric or if you have a combustion like gas, propane, or oil. And your total annual heat cost. Since Clark Public Utilities does the intake, they are able to provide this during your appointment. Once you've qualified, we will receive the information from Clark Public Utilities and the weatherization process may begin. To start, one of our weatherization specialists will schedule an energy audit with you. They'll come to the home and assess the needs and create a proposed scope of work. They'll then review that scope with the client and go over our weatherization agreement. Back at the office, they will input the data into one of our energy modeling tools. We will then review the scope of work as a team and finalize it. The manager will approve it, and the weatherization specialist will then coordinate with our contractors, both weatherization and any other contractors we may need, such as plumbing or electric or HVAC services. Once the project is completed, it'll have two final inspections. One will be our weatherization specialist, and the other will be from Labor and Industries. Just to note, we do have several monitorings and audits per year by the Department of Commerce and occasionally the Department of Energy. So we may ask to do a follow-up inspection at that point. And now I will turn it over to Dave Pinkston to discuss what an energy audit looks like.
Good morning. We're going to talk a little bit about what a home energy audit looks like. When a specialist schedules a time to come out to your home, they're going to want to take a look in the attic to see what the insulation levels are looking like. They're going to take a peek in the crawl space underneath the home, see what the insulation levels look like. In this slide, you can see the center picture, a contraption set up in the front door called a blower door. They're going to depressurize your home, keep your home at a negative pressure, and they're going to be able to read what the leakage rate of the home is and what the leakage rate of the ducts are. The image on the left is a specialist testing the fan performance to see how the fans are performing in the home. Bottom right is showing thermal imaging of the walls. The infrared camera can see the radiating heat coming from the existing insulation. If you look, you'll see a couple of anomalies in the wall cavities that one might suspect could be voids of insulation, when in fact, that could also, the IR camera can also pick up on other issues that the home may be having. When moisture evaporates, it absorbs heat, leaving the air cool around it. I'm suspecting that that's possibly a roof leak based on the anomaly that's on the ceiling also, that's taking place in the wall cavities. Either way, we don't know until we inspect further, which is what we do. Should we find a leak, we'd have a roofing contractor come out and address the leak. We would check the furnace, make sure it's working properly, have it cleaned and tuned, replaced if necessary. We're going to check for electrical issues in the crawl space in the attic while we're in there also. I mentioned the bath and kitchen fan performance. This is an example of our proposed list of work, which covers a little more than what I covered on the first slide. We're also going to be looking at your water heater. Does it need insulation? Your water heater pipes, do they need insulating? We'll inspect doors and windows, determine if they need replacing, or if we can seal the existing windows and doors. This image shows air sealing opportunities. You can see the top left, a window, you can see daylight coming through it. You can't really seal that because you would be sealing the window shut. Windows are a means of egress or escape in the event of a fire. So in this case, we would probably replace that window. Top middle, obviously a hole in the wall. Let's get that patched as that can introduce air infiltration into the home. Bottom left, we show a door. I don't know if you can see it real well, but there's daylight coming through on the doorknob side. We would weather strip that door and put a door bottom on it to seal the door. In the event that we wouldn't be able to seal the door, we would replace the door, also if it was deteriorated. The bottom middle and bottom right are showing a before and after of air sealing opportunities. You have a sewer pipe that goes through the floor before it's been sealed. The bottom right is showing air sealing having been done on the pipe after it enters the floor. We do that before we insulate the floor. The top right, the contractor would clear the insulation away from the top of the wall plates. They would seal around the wall plates and seal any penetrations going through. Floor insulation. The top left image is showing no insulation in the floor. Is showing minimal duct insulation. It's also an exposed seam, which we would strip the insulation off of the ducts to expose all of the connections, to make those, to seal those connections. We would then re-insulate the ducts with a vinyl-faced insulation and insulate the floor. Bottom left also shows the new plastic on the ground cover that we lay down for moisture. The ground cover can also help mitigate radon from making its way into the house, but that's not what the plastic is for. The plastic is for moisture. Ceiling insulation, similar to the floor insulation. What are you doing to me? Ceiling insulation, similar to the floor insulation. The image on the left, we should not be able to see the ceiling joist, the wood that's going across. That should all be covered with insulation. We would vent the fans when we're in the attic also, check for electrical issues that may exist. We'll do some air sealing. We'll insulate pipes and ducts that may be running through the attic also. The image on the right is showing an after of the attic has been insulated. Mechanical ventilation is important in the home. As we do the work that we do, we're tightening up the home, leaving less leak points for moist air to mitigate its way out of the home. Moisture is bad. You can see the image on the top left. When we got to the home to audit it, there was no kitchen fan existing. The image on the top right shows a kitchen fan having been installed, and it's not just a recirculating fan. This is an exhaust fan. We want to mitigate that air out of the home. Bottom left is showing an existing fan that was probably performing poorly, and so we replaced it with a new Panasonic fan. Bottom right image. The image in the middle is called a smart switch, which ties in with the fan. Based on the tightness of the home, based on the size of the home, based on the number of occupants in the home, based on the accumulative performance of all of the fans in the home, the timer is going to be set for that fan to run for so many minutes each hour to induce an air change. The moist air that we create by breathing, bathing, cooking, pets, plants, aquariums, let's get that air mitigated out of the home and exchanged with the air from the outside. The theory here is 1 out equals 1 in. For each piece of air that the fan exhausts out of the home, a void is created in the home and is filled by air from the outside coming in to take its place. So the fans are inducing an air change for a healthy home. Often enough, we'll come to homes, in this case here, that was an oil furnace existing in the image on the left. We're replacing all the oil furnaces that we can with new, more efficient furnaces, electric furnaces and heat pumps, a better efficient heating system. The top right image, you can see the new furnace. The contractor has also wrapped the plenums that tie into the furnace with insulation. The bottom right image is also showing the ducts having been insulated with part of the furnace. Heat pumps have become the normal here in weatherization. We're replacing inefficient heating systems in homes with ductless heat pumps. Our program is also covering ducted heat pumps, being a more efficient heating system than your 100% resistant electric wall heaters, baseboard heaters, or electric furnaces. Those are getting replaced now with heat pumps and ductless heat pumps. Combustion safety. When you have combustion appliances in your home, you have the opportunity it's to produce carbon monoxide, which is, we know, is a killer. You can't see it, you can't smell it, you can't taste it, but we do know, we've all heard the stories, it's a killer. So we're going to test these appliances for both efficiency, carbon monoxide production in the flue gases, carbon monoxide in the ambient air. We don't want it to happen, but it can. Here, what we're going to do is we're going to set the home up in what's called a worst case scenario, using the client's exhaust appliances, their fans, their dryers, if they have a leaky supply system in their furnace. All of these can contribute to a negative pressure in the home, which can cause these appliances to backdraft. We're going to set that home up in that scenario, and we're going to attempt to see if we can't make these appliances backdraft. We don't want them to backdraft, but in the name of educating the client and resolving the issues, we're attempting to do so as part of our testing. This image shows a couple of items that we'll find when we crawl into these areas. The image on the left is showing a dryer. Well, it's showing deterioration of the siding there at the bottom. It's possible that the dryer contributed to that, exhausting moisture out of the home and eating away at the structure. Our resolve would be to extend that dryer out further so that that moist air is exhausting out into the atmosphere, not underneath or into the structure. And the top right and bottom images are scenes of some of the floors that we crawl into excitedly to take a look. And critters get underneath there and do what it is they do. That could be water damage also. Let's resolve these issues, make sure that the crawl space vents are intact so that critters can't get under there and do what it is that they do. This next slide is what we'll find in attics sometimes when we come out to do an audit. The top left image is showing knob and tube wiring. That's an old electrical that we're not permitted to insulate over the top of. And so what we'll do in this case here is we'll remove that electrical. We'll have an electrical contractor rewire the attic so that we can then insulate every surface of that ceiling. The bottom left is vermiculite insulation. Vermiculite is a non-homogeneous material that can contain asbestos-containing materials. You could grab a handful of that vermiculite with this hand. It could test negative for asbestos. You could grab another handful 3 feet away, and it could test positive for asbestos. And so we have that insulation removed before we move forward with work for both the worker safety and the client safety. The picture on the right shows what can take place with improperly vented fans and dryers. In this case, there was 2 fans and a dryer, all improperly vented and exhausting into this area. You can see the mold that's taken place on the roof sheeting. The wood was saturated when we took a look at that. What we do in this case here is we get those appliances vented properly. Once the moisture source has been eliminated, the mold dries up, the mold dies. In this image here, we're showing some of the issues we come across on homes that are pretty common, actually. The meter box is pulling away from the wall. Let's get that repaired and secured. You're seeing some scary electrical going to the water heater. We take care of that with an electrical contractor coming out and rewiring the water heater. The image on the top right is a do-it-yourselfer number. Homeowner drilled a hole through the kitchen drain pipe in order to run his refrigerator water line through to the fridge. Apparently he couldn't find another path. The 2 images on the bottom right, you'll see the image on the left, a worn out, old used loofah. The image on the bottom right, we replace that loofah with matching paint. The image on the bottom left is a worn leaking drain that the crews found when they were working in the crawl space. We replaced the drain on the right as an example. Some other life safety issues that we might come across when we audit a home. The top image on the left is a wood stove flue pipe going through the roof, and you can see the singeing that has taken place on the sheeting, the roof sheeting. The image top right, the folks used a cigar box as a junction box for electrical wiring. And the bottom image is a Folgers coffee can used to connect 2 ducts together. You see all sorts of stuff when we come to these homes. Here, when we went to take a look at this particular home, my comrade and I, we found this plastic cup. We found the inner cover missing to the electric panel, and then a plastic cup inside collecting water that was dripping down through the mast. We turned our backs for just a second and turned back around to see the elderly lady grabbing that plastic cup to go and empty it to put it back. We replaced this electric panel because it deteriorated some due to the leaks, and ended up having to put a weather head on the mast. Some health and safety concerns when we come to a home. Moisture reduction. Moisture is bad in a home. Everybody has mold spores on their walls. Add water, you have mold. So let's get the moisture that we create in a home by breathing, bathing, cooking pets, plants, aquariums. Let's get that air mitigated out of the home in exchange with air from the outside. We addressed asbestos, such as the vermiculite insulation we talked about earlier. The ductwork, sometimes we'll have asbestos tape on the ductwork. We'll have that encapsulated or removed before we move forward with the work. We'll install smoke detectors, hygrometers, and CO monitors. A hygrometer detects what the humidity level is in the air. If we exceed in this region, if we exceed 50% relative humidity in a home, we're promoting moisture-related issues such as mold. Mold bad. We ensure that the windows and doors are operating properly, not just their seal, their security, and for egress in the event of a fire. We have a grant called Plus Health that has come to assist the disadvantaged, the disabled, and the handicapped. Elderly clients stepping over a tub wall to get into the tub is a dangerous situation as they're stepping onto a slippery surface. Our grant allows us to install grab bars in there to help them stable themselves as they're climbing in and out. In the more extreme cases, we're able to replace those tubs with curbless showers for easier access. Here, when we took a look at the home, we had deteriorating steps leading up to the deck. One of the steps was ready to fall through. The client was kind enough to pose for me and show me the safety hazards taking place there. And so we went ahead and replaced the stairs and included handrails for safer access to the deck. We have another grant called Weatherization Readiness. When we come to homes that have issues such as leaky roofs, we're able to re-roof the home with what's called an EPDM, in this case here, an EPDM on a mobile roof that eliminated the leak that she was dealing with. Bottom pictures are showing an existing Pushmatic electric panel, but we wanted to install a new heating system in this home. That electric panel wasn't going to support it, so we were able to replace it with a new electric panel to support the new heating system. And now I turn you over to Nicole.
Our program measures success in a couple of ways. After weatherization, we will retest the home to see where it began and where it is now. This graph shows the before and after results of the infiltration rate for 4 different clients. As you can see, the light green shows where it began and the teal shows where it ends. On average, we achieve about a 30% reduction rate to the home's leakage rate, the numbers vary greatly. As you can see, even after weatherization, they do not match, and this just goes back to touch on how each home is a unique system. The other way we measure our success is through client appreciation. We receive calls and letters thanking us for our assistance and sharing the impact we've had on their lives. Shown here are a few of the recent quotes we've received. The first one, thanks to you all, I now have a nice new window and door and all my 24 years of cold winters coming to an end. The second, I can tell the difference in my home since the work has been done. The air quality is much better and is beneficial since I have a few lung issues. And finally, I was contacted by Dave and he organized a crew of the friendliest folks who charged in on their white horses and transformed my world. The energy efficiency work and indoor air quality updates we do improves lives and preserves homes for future generations. That's all for our presentation. Does anyone have any questions?
All right, everyone. So please use the mics to ask your questions so that the room can hear you and it can be picked up on the recording. When you're using your mic, you're going to press it on the button, and when you're done speaking, you're going to release it.
How long am I qualified for weatherization after applying for energy assistance?
Yeah, so it's a 1-year application. So you would apply annually for benefits on your bill and for weatherization. Yes.
How many people do you, or how many, I guess, applicants do you have in a year-ish?
That will range. We generally will receive between 200 and 400 applicants per year. And we have been able to assist usually 80 to 120 per year. Yes.
Is there any, is there any cost to the applicant to receive this assistance?
No, it is a completely grant-funded program, so there is no cost to the homeowner or the renter if you're renting your home. Yes.
What if some of the houses, like on the air sealing opportunity, like this middle one, what if this was damaged by somebody fighting and they kicked it in, but the rest of the house is already being evaluated? Do you guys still fix the portion that somebody damaged?
We absolutely do. That's an opportunity for air sealing bypass, air infiltration coming into the home. While that might be an interior wall in that picture is what it looked like, there could be holes drilled through the top plate and the bottom plate for plumbing and wire penetrations to come through that allow outside air into the home. So yes, we would patch that hole.
Does my house have to be built within a specific time frame? Is there a house too new that wouldn't qualify for the program?
There are. Pinning that down is kind of tough to do. Even with the homes built today that are supposed to meet today's energy code, in an inspection, we can find that maybe the insulation was installed incorrectly. Take, for example, the floor. The thermal boundary needs to be aligned with the pressure boundary. In other words, the insulation needs to be making contact with the floor. Often enough, we'll find that insulation undersized and sitting at the bottom of the cavity, leaving a gap between the insulation and the floor. So yes, we would want to pin that insulation to the floor, add more insulation to fill the remainder of that cavity. Did that answer your question?
So you never know what you're walking into. Like every house that you evaluate is different. And it could be a $5,000 job or a $30,000 job.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah. Sorry, young lady, did you have a question you wanted to ask?
Is there a project that could be so bad that you won't even touch it?
Yes, there are, and there still are, but we have received new grants as of recently that allow us to address more issues that we would have had to defer the project in the past. Getting specific with it is kind of tough to do, but certainly there are homes that are to a point that there's really nothing that we can do with our limited budget in weatherization.
Do you have to be a U.S. citizen to qualify?
Yes, you do.
Do you have any programs that don't require U.S. citizenship?
We do not. I believe Clark Public Utilities does have a few options for that, and they would be the best place to start if you have anyone that you know that is struggling or has any kind of issues. That would be where I would direct them to initially. They have some really great resources.
So on this ramp one, do they have to have other weatherization stuff, or can someone just go out there because of a ramp? So like your vets or somebody else who, or is this a program just for weatherization?
And that's a great question there. And off of that particular grant, there have been standalone improvements that we've done to homes. For instance, a walk-in shower to avoid a slip, strip, and fall that we were permitted to do. But for the most part, yes, we have to have weatherization work that we're moving forward with in order to address some of these other issues, such as what you described there.
All right, thank you all for attending today's session. Our next session is going to be presented by Gerard Revel, who is a senior plans examiner, and the topic is Washington State Energy Code on residential submittal applications. That is going to be scheduled for the third Thursday of February, so February 20th at 11 a.m., and we hope to see you there.